Good morning. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day so far. It's a bit dreary here where I am. Hopefully, it's a lot better where you are. Let's go ahead and arrive before we begin. So, wherever you are, gently closing the eyes, softening the gaze. If you are sitting down in a chair, maybe scooting back so that your back is fully supported. If you're lying down, just begin to come to a comfortable position. Noticing the breath, noticing your inhales and your exhales this morning. Bring your awareness down to the base of your spine, the pelvis. And notice that the pelvis is fully supported by the earth. It's fully supported by the strength of the earth beneath it. And see if you can allow yourself to release one small area of tension in the pelvis. And then see the spine running from the base of your pelvis all the way up to the crown of your head. Wherever you are, if you're on the chair or laying down, notice how your back body is fully supported. Maybe begin to release into that support a little bit more. Can you allow the muscles in the back that connect to the spine to release just one iota more? And with the pelvic supported and the back supported, allow your shoulders to release down. No burdens to carry. Just allow the shoulders to release down to the support. And begin to direct your breath to the lower belly, the space between the base of the pelvis and the belly button. Directing the breath to your lower belly. Then begin to direct the breath to the mid-belly, the space between the belly button and the heart. Directing the breath to the mid-belly. And then begin to direct the breath to the upper belly, the place between the heart and the throat. directing the breath to the upper belly. And then we're going to begin to move the breath like an ocean wave. First, the breath goes to the lower belly, and then the mid belly, and then the upper belly. Long exhale. Inhale the lower belly, upper belly. Long exhale. Again, the inhale moves from the lower belly, the mid belly, upper. Long exhale. Again, inhale to the lower belly, the mid, upper, long exhale. Inhale the lower belly, mid, upper, long exhale. Continuing to move the breath through this ocean wave with a long exhale. Perhaps you begin to notice which one of these areas of the belly has a bit more resistance, or which one is a little bit more easier to breathe into. Just beginning to notice where your body is in this moment. Inhale, lower belly, mid, upper, long exhale. And then let the ocean wave breathing go, and let your breath begin to return back to its normal rhythm. The inhale gives itself to the exhale. The exhale gives itself to the inhale. And then when you're ready, gently opening up the eyes, taking in the room, the space, the light all around you. Beautiful. So, wanted to talk a little bit about, before we get into that, just want to say, take a moment to just notice how you feel in your body. Right? We're all here to stop pushing through, to live longer, to feel better, to actually feel good in our bodies again. So I wanted to talk a little bit about panic in the pose. I don't know if you've ever been in a yoga class or after a yoga class and you felt like during the class you had a little bit of panic or anxiety about doing a pose perfectly, or perhaps it was a pose that caused a little bit of anxiety. Maybe it was a balancing pose or an intense stretching pose, right? And so this came to me because a few weeks ago, there was a student who came to me after class, and she said, that was a really hard class. I was panicked through the whole thing. And this really surprised me because she didn't say anything. I was watching her, and some of the poses were a little bit wobbly. And so I gave suggestions, but she didn't wave me over for assistance or anything. So when I asked her what was happening, she said that she was experiencing panic in Warrior 1 and in the balancing poses like Tree Pose and Warrior 3. And I asked her why didn't she do some of the suggestions that I offered in the class? And her answer was really telling, because for her, those options didn't look like the pictures that she had seen of those poses. Or, this is also important, it didn't look like what she was able to do 40 years ago when she had first started doing yoga. And so she was trying to force herself into doing something that her body no longer felt comfortable doing. And this, after we talked a little bit, it showed her some suggestions of what might feel a little bit better in her body, and got her comfortable with the idea that she could do these suggestions in a class and it was just as beneficial as if she was doing the full expression of the pose, or what she thought was the full expression of the pose, the pictures that she had seen. And that's what I want to talk about, because I am almost certain that this pattern of pushing through affects her daily life. And I'm sure if I look back at my own experience too in some yoga classes, that what I was doing in the yoga class was how I was showing up in my day-to-day life. Because this is the pattern, and it's not just in yoga, but maybe it's in the meeting that you feel overwhelmed and you just keep pushing through. Or maybe it's in the relationship that you no longer want to be in, but you just stay and keep pushing through. Maybe it's in the years of doing everything right and still feeling completely off, completely overwhelmed, or chronically stressed, and you still keep moving through. And you've just gotten so used to how that this is the way that things are. This is the way things feel. And this has become your new normal. But it's not. We're meant to feel good in our bodies. And when we're doing something like yoga that's supposed to be healing, we can't get its benefits when we're feeling anxiety, when we're pushing through the poses, when we're overriding the body signals to attain a picture that we think we need to attain. So what happens when we have anxiety or stress in a class? Usually our muscles tense up, we get constricted, tight. And when we get constricted, when we get tense, then the healing isn't coming through the shape. The breath isn't moving effortlessly through the shape. And I think in today's wellness culture, today's yoga culture, we forget that yoga is a healing form. Asana, the shapes, are healing along with the breath. When we're tensed up like this, trying to attain the pose, the breath can't move. The healing benefits can't move. And so it's beneficial to begin to listen to the body and do the shape that allows the healing, that allows the prana, that allows the breath to begin to move through the body. Right? And so this is when we begin to move from performance to actual healing. And the performance doesn't just have to happen in the yoga class. It can happen at work. It can happen in our relationships, right? They say we have an outer face, which is different than what's actually happening inside our own bodies. And maybe this is it. Maybe we've gotten so used to the outer face, the public facing face, the public facing person, that we haven't or forgotten how to connect with what's really happening inside. And we do this because we have been taught to override our body's signals. And we override those signals even in the spaces that are designed to help bring us healing. In the spaces that are designed to help bring us more peace. And the body does keep the score. Every time we push past our own listening, we move further and further away from our balanced state. And we move further and further away in imbalance. And this then becomes more anxiety. This is when yoga creates more anxiety and panic and feelings of not feeling great after the class. It's just a low hum of life that we've begun to expect. But this isn't actually what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to begin to bring the body back into balance, bring it back into healing by the way that we live, by our practices, by our lifestyle, by our diet. And so, just something to think about. Maybe this isn't just in your yoga class where you're pushing through even when it doesn't feel good. Maybe it's a job that doesn't feel right, but you keep showing up. Or maybe it's in a relationship dynamic that feels off. Maybe it's a morning routine or an evening routine that you saw somewhere and it's just become another chore to do, but doesn't actually bring you anything positive. It creates more anxiety, more panic. Maybe as you move forward in your day and your week, you begin to ask yourself where you're panicking and not saying anything. Where are you just pushing through the anxiety because it's what you think you need to do? Where are you overriding the body's signals because you're performing on the outside something that's different than what is happening on the inside? And is it because you've decided this is what it's supposed to look like, or this is what you've seen other people do, and so you think you should do it as well? Maybe it's just beginning to notice. And that long pause of noticing is where the healing actually begins, where you actually begin to take a step back towards balance. Right? This is how we live longer and feel better in our bodies as we move forward through our life experience. And I hope you have a blessed rest of your day, blessed rest of your week. I'm here every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, for a grounding. Please join me. I'd love to see you. Subscribe so you're always notified, and be well and nourished.